Good morning and welcome to another episode of Lazy Sundays with your host, Lazy Sergio. Today I'm going to make a classic Mexican breakfast. And this is the kind of thing that you would eat in the morning after a long night of, studying or partying. And it's done traditionally by, first of all, it's called Chilaquiles. And it's done traditionally by gathering day-old tortillas, and then you cut them in the morning, and then you let them dry a little bit in the sun or out in the open, and then you fry them, and then you make a salsa. You make a green salsa with all fresh ingredients and a number of other steps. But I'm going to do it the lazy way. So instead of cutting up tortillas and drying them and then frying them, we're going to use tortilla chips. And instead of making my own salsa, we're going to use salsa out of a bottle. So here, what we have started, and usually chilaquiles will be served with a topping, so it can be chicken or it can be a fried egg, but I don't eat chicken and I'm not crazy about fried eggs. So what I've got going here is chorizo, and I wish you could smell it because it's delicious. It looks, tastes, and feels just like chorizo, but you don't have to deal with any of the cholesterol or the pork guts or insides or any of that weird stuff. And it's really great, and it comes like this. This one's frozen. We've kept it in the freezer, and we're about to thaw it for the week. And it's Melissa's chorizo. I highly recommend it. So, what I've done now is I put a little bit of better than bouillon, which is just a veggie stock kind of broth, and a little bit of hot water in here. And what we're gonna do is take this this bottle of salsa, and just pour it in there very masterfully. Put the whole thing in there. This is the best green salsa you can find in a grocery store. The brand is Herdes, and it's a brand I grew up with. So then we're just going to mix the broth and the salsa, and that's just going to give it a nice flavor. And while those two flavors are kind of marrying and getting to know each other, we're going to stir the chorizo. And chorizo is better when it has a bit of a crispy, blackened kind of texture. So I like to fry it on a low to medium setting. And you can see how some of the parts that have been closer to the bottom have been turning brown. And that's exactly what you want. So this is going to be ready in a couple minutes. I'm just going to stir it a bit while the salsa is heating up. So the next step is the hardest step in this process, and it's opening the bag of chips. I don't know about you, but sometimes they make them so hard to open. Oh, hey, that was easy. And this works with any kind of tortilla chips, and blue chips are really, really good in this. So now that we have the salsa nice and hot, and it's kind of bubbling a little bit, we're going to turn the heat down a bit, and we're going to very skillfully add the chips to the salsa. Okay, and then what I like to do is kind of take that for a spin so everything gets covered in salsa, and eventually we should be able to add a little more. You don't want to break them, so just kind of be careful. We want them to stay whole. We don't want, it's not supposed to be like a tortilla pudding or anything like that. So more like a casserole. Oops, just broke one, but that's okay. So I'm going to let those kind of marinade in that salsa and broth. I'm going to turn the heat off on the chorizo because I think it's pretty good to go. I'm going to set that aside so that it stops cooking. Some of you may be wondering how many chips to use or how much, what the proportion should be, and my answer is it's up to you. If you like your chilaquiles really soupy, so that there's a lot of salsa, then just put a few tortilla chips. If you like it a little more dense, then put more tortilla chips. So it really is up to you, to whatever you prefer. Now the thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning is that I've had the oven going at about 375 degrees. So you want to start that before, so it's nice and hot when you're ready to put this in the oven, because in a minute here we're going to put the whole skillet in in the oven. Hey, it's church time. Non-lazy people are actually standing outside of church and going to church. They're not having chilaquiles. Okay, the tortilla chips have reached, in my opinion, the right point. They're still a little bit sturdy, but they've definitely soaked in some of the salsa. So we turn the heat off at this point, and here comes the most important part, which is assembling all the pieces. We're going to start with some onions that have been sliced, kind of like this, and just going to put it all over like that. And then, after you put lots of onions, and these onions are raw, so they're going to kind of bake a little bit in the oven. But we want them to be a little crispy and crunchy and have a little bit of bite, because this is where most of the flavor is going to come from. And then you can use vegan cheese or you can use regular cheese, but whatever you do, do not use yellow cheese, because there is no yellow cheese in Mexican cooking. So make sure it's white cheese and it's melty cheese. And you sprinkle it about generously, covering as much as you can. And then we add the chorizo. And you kind of want the chorizo to crumble a bit, so you can mash it down like that with a spoon. And you add it to the top. You spread it as evenly as you can. That looks pretty good. And I'm ready to eat it. Okay, so now this is ready to go into the oven. So put it in a 375-degree preheated oven. Just give it about 5 minutes. Hello, it's ready. It's time to eat. Careful, it's going to be really hot, obviously. So here's what the finished product looks like. And if only you could smell it, it smells delicious. Now, the hardest part for me is serving it. But you just take a, what is this called?
Spatula.
Spatula. And you can cut it in quarters and put it in a plate. So thanks for watching another episode of Lazy Sundays with me, your host, Lazy Sergio, with today's, sorry, I'm still thinking about last night. Today's special, Chilaquiles.